It was the Massachusetts Constitution that was the Constitution upon which the United States Constitution was based. And our founding ancestors had the wisdom to put equal protection in our Constitution. Our federal officials at that time kept that same idea, equal protection, in the federal Constitution. So hundreds of years later, it was that provision in both the state and federal Constitution that protected the right of same-sex couples to marry, which means for hundreds of years, actually, that right was there. It was just never exercised and used. We argued that people's civil rights should not be put on the ballot to be debated and changed at the whim or by the will of the voters. It's an inalienable right. It's something that is there for all people. You should not be put in a situation where your rights can be overturned by the people. And so we were very, very emphatic about that. We worked very hard, and it took 3.5 years to block putting that provision on the ballot. 10 years after Massachusetts said the Equal Protection Clause says people of the same gender can marry, and finally the U.S. Supreme Court came to the same conclusion based on the same provision. Right now, the major push is to address the concerns of the transgender, transsexual community because they're listed in the alphabet LGBTQ, but many of the rights that the others in that alphabet soup, they still don't have many of those. And in fact, in the next election, there are people who can try to take away the right for transgender and transsexual community to use the public accommodations of their choice, which, you know, public accommodations isn't just about what bathroom you use, although that's what a narrow segment of society is harping on and trying to convince people. This isn't about the bathrooms, it's also about where you work. It's about what hotel you can check into. It's about whether you can sit at the lunch counter. It's about whether you can work in a restaurant and then after your shift, sit down at a table in the same restaurant and have a meal. And believe it or not, under the law, if it were not to be protected, you could actually work in a place because you have that protection as a transgender individual. But public accommodation, which is sitting down and eating, would not be protected. And so that individual could not sit down at the same restaurant they work at if the manager decided didn't want that individual sitting there. When you grow up in foster care, the assumption is you're going to fail because you're a state kid, you're a state ward. There's something wrong with you if you're in foster care. That's been a kind of societal stigma and prejudice for a long time. If you're LGBT, it's another form of other. And if you happen to belong to one of the smaller faiths that people might consider a minority in the faith community, then you maybe are seen yet again with another label of other. The reality is the diversity of humanity is pretty much unending. And whatever the labels that other people put on you is, it's their labels, they're not your labels. To realize the idea that we are all created equal and whatever our package, whatever we carry, what we bring, whoever we have the right to be respected. and we have the right to exist, and for our laws and our government to protect us and give us the opportunity to thrive. And so public education, again, I think an institution born in the United States, and right here in Massachusetts, in fact, basically is one of those elements and opportunities for helping people to assimilate these ideas and to then build a life around those ideas and those values, so that wherever they go throughout life, those fundamental values are going to be present at work, in church, in the community, in all of our decisions.